Hello and welcome to Haunted Montreal's Spooky Story Sessions. I'm your host, Holly Rhiannon, and today I'm going to tell you all about the haunted Funicular Trail. With over 350 documented ghost stories, Montreal is easily the most haunted city in Canada, if not all of North America. Haunted Montreal is dedicated to researching these paranormal tales, and we bring you new videos in both French and English every second Saturday. Today, we start off our favorite month of the year by examining Montreal's haunted Funicular Trail on Mount Royal. Starting near the fire station on the mountain and heading in a straight line to the Olmsted Road, it's probably the most haunted trail on the entire mountain. But before we get into today's story, please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button so you get notified every time we have a new story to share. And hey, if you are already subscribed, a big thank you and welcome back. I'm happy to see you again. Now, without further ado, let's get spooky. The old Funicular Trail is said to be the most haunted pathway on Mount Royal. Carved into the mountain to accommodate an incline railway, the human-made path is very difficult to escape. The lower part of the trail features downward slopes, and the upper portion has small cliffs on both sides. McGill students avoid this pathway at night for good reason. In 2008, a girl living in the Gardner Hall McGill residence, which borders the trail, made a serious mistake. She decided to go to a party at the University of Montreal on the other side of the mountain. That wasn't the mistake, by the way. The mistake was deciding to walk home over the mountain all alone. At first, she walked through the Catholic cemetery without incident. She then followed the Olmsted Road and descended the stairs to the Funicular Trail. As she continued down the trail, she noticed a man stumbling about as though he were drunk. She wasn't quite sure what to do. She didn't want to go all the way back, but she didn't really want to try and pass him either. She pondered and decided that she would just try to pass him as quickly as possible. As she approached, she began to hear kind of a gurgling noise. As she got even closer, she noticed a sweet and tarry smell filling the air. As the man stumbled towards her, she saw that there was a problem. His jawbone and his teeth were protruding through tattered skin. The man reached out as if to grab her, and she went tumbling to the right down the slope. She scrambled over the fence, breaking it in the process, and bolted back to her residence. She vowed never to use this pathway at night again. This pathway has a unique history. Frederick Law Olmsted, who designed Mount Royal Park, didn't want Montrealers to have a quick way to reach the top of the mountain. He intended for them to stroll leisurely along the winding path that begins near the Sir George Etienne Cartier Monument. However, on May 24, 1876, the day Mount Royal Park officially opened, the city of Montreal gave immediate permission to one Xavier Lefebvre to build an incline railway on the southeast slope of the mountain as a way to draw more people to the park. If you look into anything about the World Fair, by the way, Olmsted had a role in that as well, and you will find that he has a history of cities and others meddling in his designs. So this was not new. The Mountain Park Railway began operation in 1884. Its base was where the Central Fire Station is now, and it climbed on two 45-degree angle broad gauge tracks, its cars being raised and lowered by cables. The ticket office and winch house were at the base. It cost 5 cents to go up and 3 cents to come down, and for inmates of charitable institutions and orphan asylums, it was free. The system worked with specialized carriages that were enclosed with iron mesh. Each had 3 levels and benches to sit on. When a bell rang, the carriage was filled with passengers, then a high steel door was locked shut by a guard. The terrifying ride whipped past tree branches, which brushed against the car, and took passengers up the mountain in 3 to 4 minutes. One passenger suggested one's life was at the mercy of the cables. At the upper terminus, another guard unlocked the carriage, and passengers were treated to a wooden pavilion built on pillars with a splendid view of the city. Despite being open, it even had an elevated roof to protect viewers from the elements. At dusk on September 5, 1906, a park constable made a gruesome discovery in an orchard near the base of the incline railway. A recumbent man was found face downwards, and a kerchief with a sweet and tarry odor of carbolic acid was found tightly muffled around his mouth. His lips were badly burned and disfigured. He had been lying there, dead, for 4 to 5 hours, but passersby assumed he was drunk and merely asleep, so walked on by. John Jack McLean's gruesome death was ruled a suicide by carbolic acid, a popular way to off oneself during the Victorian era, believe it or not. Jack was 37 when he died. In the prime of his life, Jack McLean was very athletic and well known in sports circles belonging to the Shamrock Amateur Athletic Associations. He lived on Colonial Street with his wife and 2 children and worked 20 years steady at the Montreal Harbour Commission. In recent years, Jack McLean was said to have been drinking a lot, and also reported to have been feeling depressed. He hadn't participated in sports for several years on account of a railway accident on the CPR tracks near St. Martin, which severed both of his feet. Despite the progress he made with prosthetic versions, in the office nobody could tell that he had fake feet, he still was unable to do sports anymore. He didn't like the pity he got when he was attending games, so eventually he stopped attending them altogether. He would sit on the mountain, often drunk, jealously watching the athletes run up the Olmsted Road to the summit. Due to his accident, he, along with lazier people, had to take the funicular if they wanted to reach the summit of Mount Royal. It drove him crazy not being able to walk the Olmsted Road, and it is alleged that he simply lost his mind going up and down that funicular. Following Jack McLean's alleged suicide, strange things began happening with the funicular railway and surrounding area. Sometimes, after the park was closed, the railway was said to occasionally run on its own, the cables creaking wildly in the night. Other incidents involved terrified passengers who reported seeing from the caged carriage a gruesome apparition on the slopes reaching up towards them. Others swore they could sometimes hear something climbing and scratching on the exterior of the carriage. Occasional mechanical failures led to a few close calls, and by 1918 the incline railway was deemed unsafe, and with declining usage it was discontinued. After sitting abandoned for a year, it was sold as scrap for $55,000 to the Consumer Metal Company. Nowadays, there is almost no evidence of the old funicular apart from some of its ruined foundations at the top of the mountain. However, rumor has it that on certain nights you can faintly hear the cables creaking and the carriages running up and down the track of the old funicular. With Jack McLean's ghost also haunting the area, it's a good reason to avoid this trail, especially at night. Are you a Montreal resident or perhaps a tourist who has experienced something strange on the old funicular trail? If so, we'd love to know. As always, we want to hear your theories on what could be going on. Thank you so much for stopping by. If this is your first video, we do hope you'll stick around for the next one. We post new videos in both French and English every second Saturday. If you'd like to learn more about the organization founded by the talented Donovan King, it is all listed in the description down below, along with links to purchase tickets to in-person haunted storytelling experiences, including, by the way, the Haunted Mountain Tour, during which you can do exactly what we told you not to do and go up the mountain on the old funicular trail after the sun has set. And this is, of course, a great time to attend all of our tours, being the most important spooky month of the year. Please remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. We'll have a new video out in a couple weeks, but until then, stay spooky.